Dralta has brought sexy back to Castlevania. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Castlevania Nocturne Season 2, Episode 3. Dralta is back and in full force. We get to see her fully enact her new night creature powers. She's able to, experience daylight, able to go out and slaughter a bunch of soldiers. And she doesn't take out the citizens who are, fighting against the soldiers because they're useful. I was kind of questioning that last time, like, why did she leave them? I was thinking she was going to take everybody out there. My thought was that because she wanted to test out her powers, I was thinking she was going to just kill everyone just to show off, basically. But when you really think about it, then who would she be showing off to? No one else would be there. I mean, she didn't know that Aurochs and Mizrak were there, right? So it wouldn't really be showing off. And even if you wanted to say, oh, but she's just testing her powers for her own sake, maybe, but she's still going to do things according to her savior's rule. It's undoubtedly just something she's not going to forgo. We got that confirmation right when she came out of the machine and all. She comes out of the machine and it's just like right away. It's like, thank you for bringing me back, Abbott, but I only serve one person. And it's really interesting because last episode we also got her backstory. We find out that she was a medicine woman in some time period long ago from Egypt. We don't know exactly how long, I think. I don't think it specifically said. But she was serving in the pyramid as a medicine woman, and at one point there was an attack. While, there was this big gathering there, there was an attack. These vampires attacked and killed everyone there, including kids and women and men, everyone. She was the only one to survive, and she managed to take out the one vampire that was remaining, and in the process drinking his blood to become a vampire herself, because she felt it was a sign from Sekhmet. And we don't yet know how she ended up meeting Erzsébet, but we do at least now know how she became a vampire. It's interesting that they're not connected. Erzsébet herself wasn't the one who turned Dralta. And that is definitely interesting. We also got just some more of Richter and the one girl whose name I can never remember. I am bad with names. But we got them, being set up as a possible couple. And I'm glad that they seem to be doing it, slowly. They're not just rushing into them being in a relationship. They're actually building it up properly. And I appreciate that. We have Alucard, having to deal with the fact that he can't bury the bodies and getting a boat ready and everything. He didn't do much last episode, really. Maria got a visit from her mother, but things didn't end up working out too well, though she's starting to see that her mother still has her mind about her. And that's an interesting prospect, because that could mean a number of things for the future. And I don't know exactly where that's going to end up going. I don't know what it's going to end up coming to, but yeah. And of course we have Juste Belmont visiting his wife's grave, fetching his wedding ring, which I had this weird thought that was it was an instantaneous thought in my head. It wasn't something necessarily a memory. I guess it was just my mind playing tricks on me. I had for some reason thought that Sypha from the original Castlevania series on Netflix, I for some reason thought she wore a ring and used it to channel her powers through. She didn't. Um, Now, I'm not saying that that ring isn't connected to Sypha and Trevor. It very much still could be. But the connection I initially thought there was just wasn't there. um, so I'm curious to see if there is more to that ring other than just being, his wedding ring with his wife. The fact that it was hidden like that makes me feel like there has to be another reason for it. And I'm very curious to see what that ends up being. I don't know what else is going to happen this season, but it's going to be pretty insane nonetheless. That much we can guarantee. There's going to be a lot of death, a lot of cool action, a lot of just really great animation, and I'm excited to see all of it. So we should probably get into this, check it out, and see what we have in store. Let's do it. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. There's a lot of people out there in the world who will preach this message of pacifism, for lack of a better way to put it. Who will, like, talk about, like, always giving people chances and always handling everything peacefully. And those are people who come from a place of privilege. Those are people who come from a place where they can say something like that. Where being pacifistic isn't putting their lives on the line. Where giving people second chances won't cause them to be, hunted down and killed and shit. So many people throughout the history of the world have suffered at the hands of others. And in a lot of these cases have only gained their freedom through rebellion. And rebellion has come in many different forms, but a lot of cases it has been violent. And it has involved killing. It has involved, like, looting and rioting and shit like that. People who try to preach this message of peace at all times have never had to struggle to survive. And if they have, they're just fucking hypocrites. Because if you have had to struggle to survive for any reason, whether it's the color of your skin, whether it's the place you were born in, whether it's your sexuality, if you've ever had to struggle, you know that sometimes peace isn't an option. That sometimes you need to fight back. And I mean, that seems to be a big theme with this series. Rebellion. Rebelling against the powers that hold us down. Rebelling against those in charge that view us as lesser. And sometimes that rebellion requires violence. Maria going to kill her father is something that obviously Tara doesn't want. Not because she wants to protect Emmanuel. Abso-fucking-lutely not. But because she wants Maria to have clean hands, basically. She doesn't want Maria's hands, like literally or metaphorically, stained with blood. And she's worried about how it'll affect Maria if she does kill someone, how it will, like, mentally and emotionally affect her. And that's fair, that's understandable. But Maria absolutely needs to do this. It's something to where, yes, she does need to be brought back from it. She does need to make sure she isn't she doesn't give in to that kind of like dark feeling and let those intrusive thoughts take her over completely. No. But she absolutely does need to kill her father. Emmanuel needs to die. This needs to happen. As I was saying in the reaction, it would absolutely cripple, not destroy, but cripple the progress that Erzsébet is making. And that's a big deal. That's important. We need to do that. And there's only two ways for that to happen. He either needs to be killed or he needs to commit suicide. And like I said in the reaction, I want to make very fucking clear here, I am not making light of that. As someone who has been suicidal, as someone who has gone through that pain, that confusion, that like terror, the anxiety ripping me apart from the inside, it's something I would never wish anyone to have to go through. But this is also an extremely fictional, extremely like violent show. And I acknowledge that there is a difference between this and real life. I would never say something like this about a real person, but a fictional character, that's another story. I have no qualms about saying this towards a fictional character who's, you know, a horrific piece of shit, just an absolute terrible person. So it's got to be one or the other, though. There's no other choice here. It would not hold the same weight if Tara did it. It would not hold the same weight if Juice did it. It has to be Maria or himself. Because if it's himself, he's making right on all of the wrongs he did. He's redeeming himself. It is literally the only way for him to do so. And if Maria does it, it is the follow through of a character arc, a couple character arcs, really, that feels satisfying and well, like, set up in a way to where it just wouldn't work the same with anyone else doing it in terms of writing and character work. So again, just like in the reaction, I want to make very fucking clear. I when I say stuff like this, I mean it from a fictionalized perspective, and I do not take that kind of thing lightly. Not at all. But we do get to see some character interactions with this. We get to see Richter and Annette continue to forge their bond. We get to see Mizrak and Olrox have a little bit of a issue with each other, as well as Mizrak confronting briefly Emmanuel. We get to see Maria, Juiced, and Tara finding out that Dralta's alive. A lot of interactions. We also get more on the backstory of Dralta, seeing how she was trying to find a suitable host for Sekhmet after having become a vampire, and that she had formed like this I don't want to say cult necessarily, but this sect of her religious order, I guess, with these women who were serving under her. And at some point we now can surmise that she found Erzsébet. Erzsébet drank Sekhmet's blood and welcomed the goddess into her, And again, as I said in the reaction, at that point, Drolta swore fealty not necessarily to the person, Erzabet, but to the god that she is hosting within her. The god that she has always served. In fact, it kind of makes me reevaluate that line that she said when she was resurrected. She was talking about how she only serves one queen or whatever it was, the exact wording. I don't think she was talking about Erzabet there. I think she was talking about Sekhmet. But to anyone who would be in the vicinity, it would just seem like she were talking about Erzabet. And that raises an interesting concept to me. Would Drolta be willing to betray Erzabet if she felt it was in the best interest or by the command of her goddess? I think she might. I think that she probably would. It'd be interesting to see if something like that comes into play. Like something makes her at least believe that Sekhmet wants her to be at odds with Erzabet. That would be fascinating. Because it just seems like that's where Drolta's true loyalties lie right now. But I guess we'll see as time continues on. I guess we'll continue to give that a chance to simmer for now. A lot of great action in this episode, of course, seeing Juiced fighting Tara and whatnot. Some great scenes for sure. And it ends on a really interesting note that seems to be hinting at maybe a power-up for Annette, but maybe some other crazy supernatural bullshit going on. Maybe both. It's hard to say. Because the thing is, I'm not like 100% grasping Annette's entire deal. Compared to the others, it's not clicking as much for me. Like I know there's like more than just she's being haunted by spirits or something. There's definitely more to it than that, and I feel like the show, both in season 1 and so far in season 2, has expressed a lot of this. Like, I know we had that big backstory for Edouard and Annette, but I also feel like it's just not sticking in my head to the degree that it should be, especially. And I don't know why. I can't explain why. It's just something I'm not able to remember. Though, to be fair, there was also stuff talked about Juiced, and I don't remember that either. It's just, part of it is because, the time between seasons. Part of it is due to just my mind not being great with that kind of stuff. It's just a whole thing. But I try to remember what I can. I try to do my best. And we just kind of go from there. But yeah, I'm very, very interested to see how this continues to progress at this point. And if Drolta does end up betraying Erzabet, I wonder how that's going to go. Because Erzabet's not going to take, well to that at all. Yeah, just very, very interested. Also very interested to see Mizrak's reaction to Aurochs having been branded. Wondering how that's going to go. But in the meantime, tell me in the comments below, what did you think of this episode of Castlevania Nocturne Season 2? If there's anything that I didn't talk about that you specifically wanted me to, please feel free to ask in the comments below. I'm always willing to answer any comments. And I do get to see them all because I don't have the biggest audience, so whenever new comments come in, I get them on my phone. I'll be able to see them easily. That being said, thank you so much for tuning in, as always. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.